So I was told I couldn't take the mic out. Like any good entrepreneur, that's the only thing I want to do now. Cool. So I'm going to introduce you guys to Beth. I do that for a couple reasons. One, because the other option was a picture of me, and you're looking at me already. And then I could have used my co-founders, and Lord knows they're not up here for a reason. So really, Beth is the best person we could have used, and she wears a couple hats. She's a real estate agent, a strategy consultant. I do some work with her. And she's a speaker. Now, like Beth, we know the issues with being a 1099er, an independent contractor, self-employed. And I'll define two of them really quickly. Saving. It's tough, and that's not just for 1099ers. What we know is that the average American, 70% of them, haven't saved a dime. They couldn't cover a $500 emergency today. So saving is a crucial issue across our society. And the second, taxes. They're a nightmare. Rarely do we know how to handle taxes, when to handle taxes, or we end up throwing a lot of money at handling taxes or the surprise that taxes ultimately throw at us. And that is exactly why we built Painless 1099. We're a smart savings solution that automates tax withholding for independent contractors. All right, we know these people really well, and we know that they run into a couple issues. One is how they handle taxes. On one side, you see education. We can read a ton. You could read the tax manual. I don't read the language that it's in, but if you wanted to try, it'd take you a while to beat the learning curve. Or on the other side, you can plug in how much you made, and somebody will tell you how much you should pay. We sit right in the middle and automate the way money moves in a smart banking solution that we built. Now, we built this for not only us, but the millions of people across the country like us. 1 in 3 individuals is earning 1099 income today, and we know that 40% of them say the number one issue is taxes. Another pretty big chunk says the number 2 issue is taxes. And we know that this contingent, this group is going to grow to about 40% of our workforce over the next 4 to 5 years. So there's this massive group of individuals, very similar to my partners and I, as well as Beth, who are running into a problem in managing taxes, and we think the current solutions are solving their problems. We know clearly from savings and people complaining about taxes that it's not. And these people are across the board. They're not just your average freelancer, your creative. You've got people at Airbnb who are making side income as 1099 contractors. Handy, the Martin agency who did the Geico Gecko, they're close to us in Richmond, which is why I throw those guys in. All real estate agents are earning 1099 income. We know this audience very well. They're your neighbors, they're your parents, they're your kids, the token millennials that we talk about, the big bad millennials. Those guys are earning a hell of a lot of 1099 income. And these are the people we solve the problem for. Now the question is, how do we take a solution in the smart banking space and get it to people? Now, I throw Facebook and Twitter up there, not because we want to tweet things to people. We know that independent contractors live here. These are the tools that they use to get work done. It's Facebook messages and posts to find clients, and it's DMs on Twitter to get to people. B2C is something I'll touch on a little later because we do that really well. What's more interesting is B2B ultimately to C. Going to these enterprises that have 1099 contractors is how we get to the end consumer. And we've done that. Dreamtown Real Estate is our first large enterprise client, and we've locked those guys in and worked with several others. And as you see at the bottom, the pie in the sky type client is the Ubers of the world, who can use a service like us to not only find new drivers, but retain them when they avoid a tax issue. Now, how do we make money? One, it's first because it's easy. Just by having money in our accounts, we get interest on float. But obviously, as crucial touch points come up, we charge users, and then it's a referral generation tool where we have users who can get advice and use other banking solutions. Now, I mentioned the scale to B2C. The team and I have built several products and worked together for several years, but the biggest piece to take away is that we built one of Time Magazine's top sites of the year to 3.5 million people. Now, we've knocked out key milestones in finding clients, finding a bank to process this for us, and getting our first deposits and users. And our next big milestones are finishing out our seed round, building expenses and tax filing in our mobile experience, and ultimately scaling to more enterprises and more users. We're Painless. We'll be at the demo pit. Reach out.